thanks for tuning in the channel today. I've been asked by a couple of the subs what do I really think of these Motos Adventure tyres in the Tractionator series, and I just thought I'd address a couple of issues on it. And some of these guys said they don't do a great bit of dirt riding, but they'd like something for the more aggressive look. Well, take into account the reason I put them on this bike itself is where I live. I'm only around about 5 to 7 minutes from the start of dirt road. Yeah, so like I said, I'm only around about, say, 5 to 7 minutes from the dirt, and I can go out there and ride it any time I want to, and that's the reason I put these on. But we'll have a bit of a look at the tread pattern on this one here again, give you a look at how things are. So if you look at that one there, the you know, I think they've got a really nice tread pattern to them, and you know, they look the part. They I think you can get a lot cheaper tyres than these. These are around about $450 for the set fitted to this bike here. The first thing I found, and it hasn't happened now because I've probably put about 300 k's or so on them, is the first thing I noticed, the steering, even at 30 pound front and rear, was really heavy, and it's still running 30 pound now, and I've tried the different settings on it and come back to the 30, but when I first took off it on 30, it seemed like I was riding a tractor. Like it was that hard when I first got on the bike, and really heavy to steer and to pull it around the corners, and that went on for roughly the first 5 minutes or so of riding. Now, like I said, I've done about 300 kilometres or so on it now, and the thing is, when I get on it now with the 30 pound front and rear, I don't have any trouble whatsoever, even from a cold start. But it did rectify itself in the beginning. Like, you'd get on it, it would be really heavy to steer. After about 5 or 10 minutes, the tyre seemed to warm up, and I don't know whether it was a case of them warming up or whether it was a case of I've worn the top part of the tread a little bit and it handled itself better there. So that's one thing you have to be aware of. In my case, I noticed the heaviness in the steering because when crossover to the stock tyres, a huge difference. So in other words, when I got to the place and they fed them and I come out and got on them, rode off, I thought, I don't like the way this steers at all. So if you happen to buy these tyres and that happens to you, don't be concerned, because it'll rectify itself probably by the time you've done 200 or 300 kilometres. Now, number two is, and I haven't experienced with other tyres, but apparently for these knobby type ones it's a normal thing, is they get a bit of a hum in them as they're going along. So as you're heading along the road there, you can feel them like hum it away, and that's something you get to, and you occasionally get a little bit of a side wobble. So not a serious one, just a little bit of a movement. And I think it's because of the depth of the tread you're riding on. You know, I'm no tyre expert, but there's a fair bit of tread there when you put your finger up against it. Now, number three would be the seat height. Now, if you're happy with the seat height on the Classic 350 Reborn at the moment, take into account when you fit these tyres, it'll whip it up another inch or so. So you can notice it that straight away that you are sitting on the bike a lot higher. Now, going back in the early days when they were the Classic 500s, I put the K70s on that one, and that's the first thing I noticed. When you put these sort of off-road type pattern tyres or knobbies or whatever they call them, you do notice straight away that it pushes the bike up a bit, and you know, when you get to that stage, well, you're just sitting about 1 inch higher. I also couldn't get the 190 19 for the front of this one, so I think I had to go, the closest they could do was a 110. So in these particular Motos Adventure or Tractionator Adventures, that was the one thing too I went up to. And number four would be that the side stand is, because you're up an inch higher, naturally the side stand has to work a little bit harder on the lean. So when you look at this bike leaning here now, you can tell it's leaning over, you know, a lot more than what a stock one would do. But so far, yeah, no big drama there. So, you know, if you look at the way it is there, even on the side, it's still nice and stable. So, no concern there. Now, number five would be what I bought it for, is they reckon there's really good length of wear on these particular tyres, and some people are saying they're getting 6, 8, 10,000 kilometres from them, and that's on the back tyre. And I think it's closer to 10,000 kilometres they're getting on the back, so I thought to myself, that's not bad, because you could buy cheaper ones with softer compound and they only last half the distance, and then you got the trouble getting out there and getting another set fitted anyway. But overall, I'm 100% satisfied with these. I've got no intention of ripping them off the bike or anything like that. It's good, you know, when I went down to Bathurst and did the bridle track with the wife on the back, take into account here, I had the, I actually had a rack on the back which she was sitting on, and not the, you know, the solo seat itself. And that rack was carrying 55 kilos, 50 kilos for the wife and 5 kilos worth of, you know, backpack, coats or safety gear and stuff like that too. Plus it was also carrying 20 odd kilos in both saddlebags too, with camera gear, food and all that other stuff we took with us. So, you know, if you take into account these tyres handle it really well, and if they're the sort of tyres you like, well, you know, at this stage I'm really happy with them. And when I get onto the road, it's a really sure-footed bike to ride, and I've never had any issues with it at all so far, given me any reason to say this bike isn't safe. And compared to how I normally ride on the dirt, this is good for around about 10 or 15 kilometres an hour faster. So if I usually ride along at say 45, well, I can run along at 60 if I want to on loose stuff, and these track well and hold well, and you know, overall I think a pretty good tyre. And I also think they're pretty good once I get out along the road riding along. But if you say how do they compare to the stock ones, well, they're good, but they're not that good. So, you know, they don't handle, or the bike doesn't handle like it did in stock form. But once you get onto the dirt road, where this bike is meant for me to ride now, it does a really good job, and that's what I'm really happy. Yeah, so to sum up, if I wasn't 100% satisfied with these tyres I've got on it now, there'd be no way I'd put me new Suzuki V-Strom 250 SX in, and it goes in either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when the guy's going to do it, and fit same brand of tyre except a little bit of a different model on the front one. And I think I'm getting the dual adventure one on the front, but I'm still getting the same tread on the back because I've been 100% happy how that goes, and you know, like, that's the way I'm going to go. And I think I hear a bike coming along here now, and he's really living the dream, I think. So apart from that, not going too fast, I reckon I could beat him. So as far as that goes, that's something for you to think about. You know, if these tyres are for you, or you're you know, decided, yeah, you'd like to do a bit of dirt. Unless you're doing a lot of dirt, I'd say no, stay away from any of these off-road tyres, because, you know, they do affect the handling in one way and things like that. And, you know, you've got the increased ride height, you've got your side stand issues and a few other things there I mentioned earlier on. But if that doesn't worry you, and like I said, doesn't worry me here, well, the best thing about it, you can get out along the road and head to the dirt, and it's a lot safer bike to ride along the dirt tracks what I've got along with these tyres on it. Once I had this idea, now I want to ride the bike totally stock with normal tyres and see how I go. But once you try a good set of off-road tyres, and I class these as a good set of off-road tyres, they just leave the factory stuff for dead. Yeah, if you were going along those dirt roads at the same speed with the stock tyres, you would be sort of a little bit concerned that anything could go wrong, and all of a sudden that you could be on your ass. Where this one here is really sure-footed, planted, haven't had it in mud or water yet, but on the loose gravel along the road, you know, there's no reason to worry about it whatsoever. And take into account when I also did the bridle track, that was the first time the wife's been on a bike for any lengthy period of time, and even though she's not used to being on the back of a bike and was moving around a bit, the slight trouble I did have, because I put her on that rack instead of refitting the other seat, was I was carrying that much weight at the back of it when she sat on it that made the front wheel lift. Yeah, so that was a little bit of a wild ride when you first get on there in the flat area, and then I get on the bike, she gets onto the back, and all of a sudden your front wheel lifts. So that's another reason I only went down as far as the bluff area on the bridle track, because it was too risky to take a novice on the back there, and I'm not used to doubling people, and to go up that hill, maybe I actually thought if I went further and went up that hill at the bridle track there, the first one where they've done the road work, that with the weight on the back, I wouldn't be surprised if the bike lifted up near and tipped over. That's what I was concerned about. So I thought I would play it safe, call it quits, go to that one there, and then later on want to get my Suzuki under control, take it back down there because it's fully kitted out, and you know, like, and when you're by yourself, you're sort of more aware what's going on and can take a little bit more of a risk. When you've got a passenger on the back, I think you've got to play it smart and do the right thing and show common sense, and that's what I. Yeah, so overall, guys, I hope you found this a bit helpful. The bike is a bit of a mix match at the moment. You might have even noticed that I got the sandpaper out and give those mudguards a bit of an old brush up for old-fashioned look. So there it is there now, in case you missed. just to give it that older look. And I don't know, it may look like now a bike that's over, you know, it's a lot older than 8 or 9 months old, whatever it is. Probably about 8 months, I think. So it might give it that sort of a old one. I'm going to leave the blue tank on here for a while too, because, you know, I've got me red chrome tank and the guards and that, and I'll have to decide further down the track which way I'm going to go with this one, if it's going to stay around or not. But at the moment I'm having a little bit of fun with the change of colour and that, and, you know, change of colour for a tank and a coupler like this is a lot better for me than going out and say, oh, let's buy another bike and do another 3,000. So to do this one here, the change has cost me not much at all, but $250. I think I'm riding another bike now, so that's all it's got to do is please me, and I think I'm riding one. And we'll see long term how this idea goes, and we'll go from it later on. But, you know, the best thing about it, I reckon I've saved quite a lot of money going to this one. The, you know, it sort of kept me under control and busy playing around this one for a while. So I still think it looks all right. This still sounds the same, still the same bike, still got the low Ks on it, so virtually I got a new old bike, so I'm happy there. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look.